Hi guys, and welcome to your daily tarot reading for Tuesday, the 12th of January 2021. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to use the patch tarot for today's reading. Let's see what the cards have to say about Tuesday and what energy is coming up for you. So I'm going to choose 3 cards here. Let's have a look at what they want you to be aware of today. First card, we've got conflict, the 5 of swords. Then we've got illusions, the 7 of cups. And finally, audacious, the King of Wands. That's a good word, audacious. All right. So the 5 of Swords is about genuine conflict. It's not trivial little problems with other people. It's really something quite serious. It could be the end of a friendship, or it could be a really tough decision. We've got lightning in the background there, which is threatening and kind of intimidating. Then we've got this huge storm brewing, and we've got these giant waves coming towards the shore. So it's kind of a storm in the distance that's getting closer and closer. So there's a sense of danger or a sense of trouble kind of brewing. And then we've got this figure here who doesn't have a particularly happy look on his face. He's not pleased. He is angry. He is decided for himself that he is not part of the group, that it's not us, but instead it's me versus them. So his decisions are the ones that matter. His life purpose is the only one that counts. And because of that, he acts in a way that's really divisive, and he makes bad decisions, and he really upsets other people. We've got these 2 figures in the front here. One is crying, the other one is angry and upset. And he's holding all these swords which fit together to create this pentagram. So the sword is a symbol for the element of air. It's about the way you perceive the world. It's about the way you think, the decisions you make, the things you say, and where the sword kind of comes down and cuts things. So the way you decide to either continue or not continue, or to end something or to begin something. He's in red, so it's really his passion that's the most important. He's not interested in what other people are feeling or thinking. We've got purple and green here, so spirituality is not something that he's interested in. He doesn't have any patience. He is not particularly focused on what could be. He is only interested in making himself bigger, and he's not connected to his true nature. He is not always this angry man. He's not always just focused on the self, but he may be under pressure, and because things are building and he's not facing the storm, he's got his back turned to the storm. But it could be that he senses this and he feels under a huge amount of pressure, and that's what causes him anxiety or makes him angry. And that's why he decides to take really radical action, which actually is going to make things worse rather than better. So he's not really in his right mind at the moment. And that's why he's engaging in interactions with other people and situations in his life in a way that's much harsher than he would usually be. And he thinks he's helping himself, but he really isn't. So it's kind of the classic thing of when you make decisions based on fear, you create more fear and alienation. If you're in a good place and you decide with generosity and hope and love, then you're creating opportunities for more love to come into your life. What's interesting also is that if you look at the swords this way around, we've got a pentacle or a pentagram that has the 1 point at the top, and that's about mind over matter, spirit over the physical reality. But the card is upright, so he thinks that his current circumstances that are looming and that really seem quite dangerous, that they are the only reality in life. He's totally forgotten about the spiritual side of things, and that makes him react badly. Because if the only thing that matters in your life is your job or your money, and you lose that, then you've got nothing. Whereas if you realize that you're a spiritual being having a human experience, and if you go through those hardships, like you lose your job, then it's still awful and you can still be devastated. But you realize that your job isn't you. It's not a reflection of your identity. It may have been a vocation or a passion, but there are other things that you can do to thrive on planet Earth, because your talents and your skills, they're inherent in your spiritual consciousness and in your life, in your soul. It's all inside of you. So he's got the wrong end of the stick. He's letting fear govern his life, and that's why he's engaging in real conflict. So you may meet someone or a situation in your life that threatens you or that is negative towards you. And it's not a great comfort to realize that those actions are being taken because they're under pressure themselves and they've got the wrong end of the stick. But it's just negativity that spreads and spreads and spreads because everyone's afraid. So if you come across someone like this, if a friend is really mean to you for no reason, then give them the benefit of the doubt and say, maybe they had a bad New Year's or they're not having a great start to 2021. This isn't them. This isn't the way they usually are. So try and, if you're going to judge a situation or a person, try and judge it on the whole experience. So if you've known them for 5 years, don't just let this day say, okay, that's who they are, enough, I've had it. Look at the 5 years you've had, and instead of that, say, this is really out of character. I'm going to hold off, or I'm going to see if I can help this person to calm them down a little bit and to find out what's really going on. That's going to be much better, because if you become overly reactive to something negative, then this situation is won, because then the storm is moving over the ocean and over the beach and into it, just spreading. And you don't want to spread the negativity. You want to either not engage with it or see what the real cause for the upset is in an effort to resolve it. So the solution here is Venus, the planet of love and beauty, to think with love and to give people the benefit. And Aquarius, what can you discover about this situation? And then how can you show the other person or the situation why it's not accurate and correct and why this behavior isn't acceptable. And that's something that you're going to learn from yourself. You'll realize that you don't have to be so reactive when it comes to things happening in your life, that they aren't always real, that it may be someone having a bad day or being afraid. Next is the Seven of Cups. And the Seven of Cups is usually about having the opportunity to reflect and ask yourself, what are my hopes and dreams for life? What is it that I want to focus on? In this deck, it's about illusions. And we've got this little figure kind of lost in space and he's kind of melting. So it's the dissolution of self. It seems really scary. And then we have all these potential opportunities that he's trying to grab onto, but they're all just floating away and nothing seems to happen for him, and he's quite terrified. So we've got these different things. So we've got security, we've got strength, we've got wisdom, we've got abundance, we've got leadership. So those are the things that he cares about and that he's been pursuing. But what he realizes now is that he can't really get a hold of anything, and his whole identity has been based on achieving these things. And because he can't get a hold of them, he feels like he's coming undone, because it's the same thing as this card. He's put the wagon before the horse. So instead of realizing that he's a spiritual being who's got every wonderful, miraculous thing inside him already, that he doesn't need to do anything really, he thinks that he's only going to matter and he's only going to find his own true nature if he achieves some of these things that he wants to achieve. And the reality is that, think about it in your own life. If you have a child who is the love of your life, but that child is born with difficulties and can't, become the Prime Minister of the UK because they're not that gifted in terms of politics and intellect and speaking and things like that, you're not going to love that child less just because they're not going to be Prime Minister. And if someone is really successful, so let's think, David Geffen, he's got doesn't he have some music company? He's not more lovable and he's not more in his own true nature because he's built this huge financial empire. At the core of who we are, we're always going to be the same people, regardless of what we achieve in life and what we don't achieve. And it's really important to remember that you have value, that you are unique and special, whether you work your behind off or you don't. And today, there's real conflict between that, and there's a difficulty in seeing yourself as you really are, and it could cause you some problems because you become overly identified with the things in your life rather than remembering your innate value. So that's easy to resolve. So just take a few minutes in the morning and say, I am a being that is so all-encompassing and eternal that I don't even understand myself. I don't know how long I'm going to be on planet Earth. these things aren't revealed to me. So there is something bigger here. I am not the be all and end all. And try and get your perspective right before you go into the day, because it's going to save you a lot of bad decision making and a lot of upsets and emotional turmoil by confusing things and giving them much more importance than they actually have. So if you find yourself putting other people up on a pedestal, or you find yourself giving money total power over your life and your experience or your leadership skills, if they're a 10 out of 10, then you're amazing. If they're at 1 out of 10, then you're worth nothing. If you find yourself thinking like that, just take a little time out and say, hang on a minute, what is going on here? It's not that serious. I am okay. We've got Venus again, so the answer and the solution to this problem is love and loving yourself and realizing that you don't have to do anything to matter. And then Scorpio is interesting because Scorpio allows you to look at the difficulties and to transform them. So this isn't like you're a sitting duck here. You're not just doomed to get the wrong end of the stick and to feel like your performance is all that matters. You can actually look at this and say, why is it that I feel so strongly about all of these achievements, and why am I buying into this, and how can I transform this to actually serve me? So if you figure out that you want to appear very wise because your parents never loved you, and you want to really excel to show them, and you want them to really care for you because what they really value in the world is intellectual ability, then you understand that about yourself and you can stop struggling. You don't have to get anyone to love you or make anyone see you in a certain way. If you can see that for yourself, it takes a lot of this work out, which is completely unnecessary, especially if you're doing it to please others. So it's rediscovering your own identity and saying, I have value within, and make a list, count your blessings. I am valuable because I'm strong and resilient, and I keep trying, and I do my best, whether I succeed or not. Finally, we've got the King of Wands, and that is audacious. And we've got this king kind of jumping into some sort of situation. Oh, he's on this horse here. He's kind of galloping into a situation, and he's going to make it all happen. And he's powerful and masculine, and he is in touch with his purpose, and he goes after what it is he wants. So what I think the really audacious thing is if you don't get swept up in what everyone else is telling you, and you actually think for yourself. I think that's the most radical thing you can do. And if you are able to do that, you rediscover the fire that burns within you, and it really liberates you from other people's opinions. So if you're having a really hard time with your partner, and your partner is in a bad place, and he lashes out and he says, do you know what? You are so annoying and I don't love you. And it's just heartbreaking to you. And you've put all your energy into this relationship, and because he said these awful things to you, you feel like your own identity is falling away. Who am I if not this person's partner? You know, what? Oh, I feel lost. I feel totally out at sea by myself. If you realize that those are hurtful words, but they really have no reflection on who you are, and they're not about you, they're about his fear and about his problems and his desire to hurt someone else. And you're able to differentiate, that's what brings you all this fire and this power, and you'll really be able to make progress in your own life, and you're able to overcome this constant need to please other people or to achieve something that you don't even care about just because you think it ought to be done. I mean, we can expand that as well. The society we live in, I mean, our society does not encourage you appreciating yourself for who you are. Our society says, well, if you want a beautiful smile, then you've got to buy our teeth whitening product, and then everyone will love you. And you've got to have a good job if you want to be able to go to parties and show off. You know, I mean, I think you know what I'm saying here. We're not in a particularly accepting society where people say namaste to each other in a genuine way, where they genuinely accept that each person is unique and has their own value. So you're able to do that for yourself, and by doing that, you're helping yourself out today by taking the pressure off, but you're really helping yourself for the rest of your life, because you see things clearly. You don't get the wrong end of the stick. You don't need to dance like a little monkey for other people's pleasure and approval. you get your own power back by saying, what is it that I actually care about? What is my identity all about? And that is truly empowering, and that is the most audacious thing that you can do on this day. Number-wise, we've got the King, which is 1, and 7 is 8. 8 and 5 is 13. 1 and 3 is 4, and 4 is security and structure. So you're able to clear this negative stuff away today, but like I said a moment ago, it's really important work that you can do on this day, because it's going to free you and liberate you forever. So it's really like a reframing of things and really seeing things clearly again. And it may even be that some negative circumstance or some sort of conflict actually opens your eyes to the fact that you've based your whole identity around this situation. And once that melts away, you're able to rediscover your own power. So amazing opportunity for growth on this day, and to really get yourself back if you've been feeling a little bit lost. I hope you have a wonderful Tuesday. If you'd like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on book your reading to order your reading with me. If you like this video, then give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and share the video online. Have an amazing day, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.